All right, so I just finished with my thyroid biopsy, and I have to say that I'm very, very disappointed. So just to kind of give some background, because I'm just going to ramble right now to get this off my chest, but I've had thyroid nodules in my neck for many years, and I've been monitoring them for years. I've had biopsies before. I have 2 swollen lymph nodes on the back of my neck. For years, I was seeing a specialist. So I do have history of thyroid cancer in my family. So my mom had thyroid cancer, and her grandmother, I believe. It's kind of known, family history of thyroid cancer. So I have been checking, my neck. What happens? I went to the doctor one day, and the doctor was like, "You're just looking at me." Was like, "Your thyroid is really big." So that led down the path of I have nodules in my neck. I need to check it on a regular basis. The last check that I had was years ago. And so I had a great specialist in Georgia, and she wanted to monitor it every year. And I moved from Georgia to Florida, and I completely forgot about my thyroid. Just completely forgot about it. I guess it's been maybe 7 years since I've had it checked. And so last year, I went ahead and was like, "Oh gosh, my thyroid, I forgot. Let me get an ultrasound." So my regular doctor got me an ultrasound. And then I still didn't even do anything with the ultrasound. And then I went to get the ultrasound again, because this year I knew that I was going to be starting Mounjaro. So I was like, okay, according to the black box label, I talked to my doctor and my endocrinologist about it, and they were saying that there isn't any history of people with cancer from Mounjaro. What happens is that it was a black box label and rats. So I don't have to be afraid of taking it or whatever, but they did order the ultrasound again just to compare. And when they compared the difference, one of the nodules had grown quite a bit from the year before. And again, all of this is before Mounjaro. It has nothing to do with Mounjaro. It's just me and my thyroid, kind of background. So the doctor, the endocrinologist was, got the information back from the scan, and she was in shock because one of them had really grown just in the year's time. And she was like, "Oh, we've got to get a biopsy on this." And so she scheduled to have the biopsy, and 2 different doctors in Florida, because the person who did the scan basically said follow up in a year, even though the guidelines say fine needle biopsy based on the size. It says fine needle biopsy or follow up in a year, and they said, well, we recommend follow up in a year. And because that person, the ultrasound lady, said follow up in a year, the radiologist didn't want to do a fine needle biopsy and kept pointing to the fact that the ultrasound tech said follow up in a year. And so 2 different hospitals said it, they don't want to look at, it's not big enough. They're just going to follow up in a year. So my doctor had to go back to get someone to do it, and she requested that they do both sides. So I've got nodules on this side, nodules on this side. So they are not, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimeters, which is what people are, looking for when they see those big goiters and all that. That, a lot of times they're afraid of those that are really big. Mine are not really big, but on the left side, I have 2, I don't know if they're going to show up or not, swollen lymph nodes, and I've had these lymph nodes for years. And because of that, it's one of the reasons why, just make sure that you check it. So the doctor was like, "I don't like that you have those cervical lymph nodes. Let's get it checked and see what's going on." So the short version is 2 hospitals refused to do the fine needle biopsy. My doctor had to go back and talk to the radiologist and explain why she wanted to have it done. She has to do both sides, yada, 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 yada. She sends over the thing. I get over here, and they don't do both sides, and they're not going to do both sides. And in fact, they were like, "Well, we received a request from your doctor to do both sides, but the left side is small. We're not going to do the left side." And they read to me again this note from a thyroid an imaging technician, right? Not a doctor, that says follow up in a year. And I had to just really just say a prayer deep within me to not just slap the woman, because I'm like, I don't want you reading nothing. My doctor asked you to do both sides. Like, what is the deal? So I don't know what it is in Florida, but the doctor doesn't determine, if you have a biopsy or not. they take notes of the person who did the imaging, and the person said follow up in a year. So as of right now, they've done the right side, which I needed to get the right side looked at. The right side is 1 centimeter bigger, or centimeter bigger than the other side. Like 1, like it was 7 or 2.6, and the other one is 2.7, and they're saying the other one they're not going to do. So I'm very, very frustrated. But, based on the size, they don't feel like, there's anything wrong with it, which I guess it's a good feeling, I guess. So I'll know within 3 to 5 days if there's anything in this nodule. But I'm just really annoyed because I can't even really get the care that my doctor is requesting that I get. And my doctor in Georgia, she was a thyroid surgeon, so she didn't have to go to someone else to do it. She felt like it needed to be done, and she did it herself. So I don't know. I'm wondering, am I going to go to Georgia to kind of get it back done again? Am I just going to wait and stop stressing myself? Or one of the other technicians was really nice. He was like, what you should do, I see, because I showed him to the side, and he was like, that's really concerning. He was like, what I would recommend you do is go back to your doctor and ask her to do a lymph node biopsy. There's a procedure for that, and ask for a head and neck MRI. He said in that way you'll have the center around the lymph nodes. So I thought that was nice. He was really nice. And again, all of this happened before Mounjaro. It's just that I'm keeping a closer eye on it because I don't want to end up with some issues down the line and be in trouble, because I'm taking this medicine hoping that my A1C is going to go down. So that is how my biopsy went. I don't know if I want to rate that terrible or not, but that's how it went. It is what it is. I guess stay tuned.